Hey guys, I'm Lindsay Moore. I live on Lake Bowen in Spartanburg, South Carolina. My blog, Just a Little Organic, chronicles my life and I share my passion for food and wholehearted living with friends and family. Now, thanks to Ingles, I'm gonna cook with you. I'm gonna take you step by step and show you how to bring some of my favorites to your kitchen table. Today we're starting out at Ingles, getting the ingredients to make my honey roasted butternut squash and spinach salad. For a full list of all the ingredients, check out the shopping list underneath the video player. You can print a list and take it with you, or you can pull it up on your phone while you're at the store. Now let's get cooking. Hey guys, we're here and we're gonna make our honey roasted butternut squash and spinach salad. It's a wonderful fall salad. It's got all beautiful colors, yellows, greens, reds, and it also has fall flavors. We've got honey roasted butternut squash to add even more flavor to the already sweet squash. The honey just kind of brings everything out, and it's a hard winter squash. It's sweet, kind of nutty. And I've already peeled and chopped and seeded a butternut squash. And if you don't have time to do that, you can just pick up pre-sliced or pre-cut butternut squash at Ingles. But you get a lot more if you just get a butternut squash and do it yourself. It doesn't take too much time and it's delicious. So you just line a baking sheet with parchment paper and you're gonna take about 2 tablespoons of honey. I really like to use local honey, and Ingles has great options for local honey. It's just got really good flavor. So, and this doesn't have to be exact. You know, 2 tablespoons is good, but if you do less or more, that's fine. It's not gonna ruin the recipe. That's how it is with a lot of things. I mean, if you have more squash, you need more honey. If you have less squash, you need less honey. And we'll put about 1 tablespoon of olive oil, extra virgin. And again, this doesn't have to be exact. You can just kind of swirl it around. If you like to be exact, you can do a tablespoon. And then we're gonna do a pinch of salt. I like kosher salt, it's good. And then a pinch of pepper. This is fresh ground pepper. Even though it's in this little container, I did grind it fresh. It tastes a lot more peppery if you do it that way. So again, you're gonna take your hands and just toss it around. Try to evenly coat the honey on everything. You want it to get evenly over all the pieces so you get a nice brown glazed look. 1 layer so they all roast evenly. I'm gonna fix this real quick. And then we're gonna pop it in a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes. And we're gonna check it halfway through, do a little toss, and then pull it out. In go the butternut squash. I'm gonna set the timer for 15 minutes to remind me to flip everything, just to check. And it'll get fork tender when it's ready. So meanwhile, I'm gonna make the vinaigrette and chop the spinach. You don't have to chop spinach, but I like it chopped. It's just easier to get on a fork and eat. So I have rinsed and dried spinach. I get organic spinach. Ingles has I think it's Harvest Farms, Harvest Farms spinach, and it's delicious. So you just take a knife. It doesn't have to be anything perfect, and I just chop to make the pieces smaller than they are. So we've got our spinach. We're just gonna put it back in the bowl. And then we're gonna get to making our dressing. We're gonna make a vinaigrette, and vinaigrette is traditionally 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar, but there are a lot of factors that play into the ratio. First, we're gonna add, and this doesn't have to be in any special order except for the oil has to be last. 1/4 a cup of pomegranate juice, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 1 tablespoon of honey, got a tablespoon or 2 of mustard, Dijon mustard, and a little bit of pepper. Probably about, I would say 1/8 of a teaspoon if you're really trying to measure, but again, taste. And then a little bit of salt. You can always add more later, so just don't add too much. About maybe 1/4 or 1/2 of a teaspoon, I would say. And then a Meyer lemon. Cut it in half and squeeze it in. And again, this doesn't, I say 1 lemon, but it doesn't have to be exact. You can use half or you can use 2. You know, it kind of depends. I use 1. And then I taste. So squeeze it in. And if you don't have one of these handy lemon squeezers, just use your hands. You might need to have 2 lemons if you do that, because this just gets out a lot of the juice. And then also the little secret ingredient, cayenne pepper. You don't need a lot, you just need 1/8 of a teaspoon, but the little bit of spice kind of balances, not kind of, it balances out the sweet and the salty and a little bit of the sour, so it's necessary. All right, then it's time to whisk up these ingredients, and then we'll add about 2/3 a cup of olive oil. All right, this looks about done. We'll add more. I'll give it a little taste. Delicious. It's been 15 minutes. Our squash has been in the oven, so I'm gonna just check it and give it a little stir. It's looking great. We're just gonna give it a little turn. Scooting them around a little. And I'll put it back in. Okay, it's been 30 minutes, so I'm gonna check my butternut squash again, and remember to watch out for the steam when you open the oven. I have a fork, and I'm just gonna give it a little poke to make sure it goes through, and it does. It's just really soft, and you'll know it's done. It's got a nice glaze. And we're gonna let this cool. We're gonna let this cool for about 10 minutes just so it doesn't wilt the spinach as soon as we put it in there. And we'll be back. All right, our butternut squash is cooled and we're ready to keep going. I'm just gonna take the sides of the parchment paper and dump the butternut squash in with the spinach. If you don't have parchment paper, or if you did it straight on a pan, just grab a spatula and throw it in. All right, so once we've got all this in the bowl, we're gonna add a little bit of our vinaigrette that we made earlier and go ahead and toss it. So give it a little quick stir in case it's separated. And then I would say I'm gonna use this 2 tablespoon measure. But it's probably gonna end up being about 1/4 of a cup that I put in here to toss. I just don't wanna dump it all in there and waste it so we can't top our salads later. So we got a couple of these, maybe 3 or 4 scoops. Ooh, I'm making a mess. All right. And then I'm gonna use my hands to toss. You can use tongs if you want, but I think this is just easier and you're at home, so just use your hands. All right. We're gonna coat everything nice and evenly. You're just gonna kind of grab it from the bottom and give it a couple of turns. And you can see the spinach is getting coated with the dressing. It's already starting to look like fall in this bowl. All right, we've gently tossed our butternut squash and spinach with some of the vinaigrette. We left a little bit on the side so we can drizzle on top of each individual salad. Now I'm gonna move this out of the way, and the next thing you do is plate your salad. In this instance, you might want to use your tongs since you don't need to really toss it that much anymore. And you can choose your toppings. You can kind of mix and match your toppings. I like hazelnuts, but here we have pecans. They're in season right now and they're delicious. So I'll top with a few pecans and some goat cheese to add. I'll just use my fingers. Goat cheese just to add a little bit of salty to balance out the sweet butternut squash, and the sweet dressing is just delicious. Goat cheese is one of my favorite cheeses. It's got a lot of flavor and you don't have to use a lot. And then we're going to top with some healthy fats, some avocado, and like I said, you can add grilled chicken or grilled fish or something like that, but this has plenty of protein, healthy fat, and is just delicious. And then we're going to add a little drizzle of vinaigrette. And voila, we have our honey roasted butternut squash and spinach salad topped with pecans, avocados, goat cheese, and drizzled with pomegranate vinaigrette. We're all out of time for today, but I want to thank you for joining us here at the Ingles table. Remember, you can find this recipe, videos, photos, and more on the website at inglestable.com. Until next time, I'll see you online.